Hello guys, welcome back. So this is my second video on Doll's House written by Henrik Ibsen. In the first video I've completed the introduction and first act. In this video I'm going to discuss with you the second act 2, which opens on the following day, Christmas alone. Nora paces her living room filled with anxiety because she was tense now that Crocustas is going to share her secret with her husband. So she was very much tensed. Mrs. Lynn arrives, helps you Nora's costume for the ball that Nora will be attending at her neighbor's home the following evening. Nora wants to look very beautiful. Nora wants to pursue her husband with her beauty, with her dressing, and everything. So Nora tells Mrs. Lynn that Dr. Rank has a mortal illness that he inherited from his father. Nora's suspicious behavior leads Mrs. Lynn to guess that Dr. Rank is the source of Nora's loan. Nora denies Mrs. Lynn's charge but refuses to reveal the source of her distress. Towell arrives. Nora again begs him to keep Krogstad employed at the bank, but again Towell refuses because she was trying to pursue Towell to appoint him or keep his position safe, Krogstad's position safe. But Towell was very much disagree with this point. When Nora presses him, he admits that Krogstad's moral behavior is not all that bothers him, but he disliked Crocket's overly familiar attitude. Towell and Nora argue until Towell dispenses the maid to deliver Krogstad's letter of dismissal. Finally, the letter arrives. Towell leaves, and Dr. Rank arrives and tells Nora that he knows he is close to death. She attempts to cheer him and begins to flirt with him. She seems to be preparing to ask him to intervene on her behalf in her struggle with Towell. Suddenly, Dr. Rank reveals to Nora that he is in love with her. In light of this revelation, Nora refuses to ask Dr. Rank for anything. Once Dr. Rank leaves, Krogstad arrives and demands an explanation for his dismissal. He wants respectability and has changed the terms of blackmail. He now insists to Nora that not only that he be rehired at the bank, but that he be rehired in a higher position. So he was trying to blackmail her that he will be rehired in higher position. He then puts a letter detailing Nora's death and forgery in the Helmer's letterbox. Now Nora was very panicked. Nora tells Mrs. Lynn everything, and Mrs. Lynn instructs Nora to delay Towel from opening the letter. So she was trying to pursue Towel so that he may not open the letter which contains the truth. So Nora began to practice the tarantella. She will perform that evening's costume party, and in her agitated emotional state, she dances wildly, violently because she was not happy. She was thinking many things were in her mind, and then displeasing toward in her emotional state, she dances violently and displeasing towel. Now Nora manages to make Towel promise not to open his mail until after she performs at the party. Mrs. Lynn soon returns and says that she has left Krogstad a note, but he will be gone until the following evening. Next night, costume party takes place upstairs. Krogstad meets Mrs. Lynn in Helmore's living room. Their conversation reveals that two had once deeply in love. Now, first time in the play, you come to know that Nora Krogstad and Mrs. Lynn were in love. But Mrs. Lynn left Krogstad for a wealthier man who would enable her to support her family. She tells Krogstad that now she is free of her own family obligation and wishes to be with Krogstad and care for his children. Krogstad is overjoyed and says he will demand this letter back before Towel can read it and learn Nora's secret. Mrs. Lind, however, insists he leave the letter because she believes both Towel and Nora will be better off once the truth has been revealed. Because Nora has been continuously suffering that truth might come before the Towel and he will leave me, he will go away from me, he will dislike me, he will not accept me, or many things were in her mind. So Mrs. Lynn, with good faith, with good for the sake of Nora, for the goodness of Nora. She really wants that letter should be read by Torvald, as everything was settled between Krogstad and Mrs. Lind, but still she wanted truth. Who is afraid of Virginia Woolf, so truth should not be hidden. Soon after Krogstad's departure, Nora and Torvald enter back from the costume ball. After saying good night to Mrs. Lynn, Torvald tells Nora how desirable she looked as she danced. Dr. Rank, who was also at the party, has come to say good night, promptly interrupts Torvald's advances on Nora. After Dr. Rank leaves, Torvald finds in his letterbox two of Dr. Rank's visiting cards, each with a black cross above the name. Nora knows Dr. Rank's cards constitutes his announcement that he will soon die, and she informs Torvald of this fact. She insists Torvald read Krogstad's letter. Towel reads the letter and outraged. And when he reads the letter, he was very much angry. He did not like this. He calls Nora a hypocrite, liar, complains that she has ruined his happiness. He declares that she will not be allowed to raise their children. He started abusing her. He started calling her bad mother, bad wife, not a good woman, and pointing on her character. He declares she will not be allowed to raise their children. Helen then bring in a letter. Torvald opens it, discovers that Krogstad has written Nora's contract, which contains a forged signature. Overjoyed, Torvald attempts to dismiss his past insult. Now, as soon he got the different letter from the Helen, as soon as Torvald opens it, discovers that Krogstad has written Nora's contract, and which contains a forged signature. Torvald again was playing the duplex role. He was calling Nora hypocrite, but he himself was playing the role, and he trying to attempt to dismiss the past insult which he did to her. But his harsh words have triggered something in Nora, and she declared that despite their 8 years of marriage and everything she has sacrificed for him, for the children, for the family, for the house, for just everything for him, but he called her liar, hypocrite. They don't understand one another. Towel Nora Azad has treated her like a doll just to be played with and admired. She decided to leave Towel, declaring that she must make sense of herself and everything around her. She walks out, slamming the door behind it. So basically, you will see the play ends with the slamming of the door, and she's moving out, and how she was feeling very bad, and she was feeling everything was ruined. But actually she also realized, you can see the two phases of her. One is feminist, second is female. She was a feminist, she was accepting, she was doing, she was feminism was also there, but now she was completely different. She slammed the door. She just slamming the door symbolizes she stopped accepting the things which were imposed on her, and rejected all these things. She moved out and then started living her life the way she wanted. So this is all about the story. It's very easy, you can understand this. You can understand the many interpretation I've added. I'm going to share the notes with you as well. So the you can see the transaction between Nora, how Nora got changed, how earlier she was and now how she was now. So there was a big change in her personality. You can also see Doll's House immediately puts the spotlight on money, which emerges as one of the force driving the play's conflicts that draw lines between genders, classes, moral standards. Though Nora owes the porter 50 ore, it's a currency of Norway. She gives him twice that amount, presumably because she is infused with the holiday spirit, while Nora likes to spend and allows the idea of buying presents to block out financial concerns. So everything you can see how Nora used to be happy financially, that she is having the husband who um, gives her so much money and everything. So this financial matters a lot. You can see Towell's insistence on calling Nora affectionately by the different names you can see, helplessness, and which these names were my squirrel, my little skylark, है ना? So these names are not just these names having very symbolical meaning, which shows helplessness in dependence on the husband. A squirrel is very shy. Creature, once you are just doing this and the squirrel runs away, it gets frightened. So same way, girl should be like this. Girl should be very diminutive, very submissive, very uh, we give them the term shy. She should be shy, or she, because we want to cover all these things under certain things. So, my little skylark, all these are symbolizing or showing her position as low and not having any dignity. So, this is very important. You can go through this. When Towell accuses Nora of being irresponsible with money, he gives her more in order to watch her happy reaction. This ex shows Towell amuses himself by manipulating his wife's feelings. So we can see somewhere emotions are compared with the monetary. So emotional aspect has been compared with financial aspect, which is not at all true and acceptable. But normally this is taken in our society. The girls are happy with the money, with the costly things, with all these things, or rather they don't need emotional satisfaction or something. So these things are not there at all, but these are misinterpreted or misrepresented in our society. So we can see all these presentations through the character of Toward also, and then the relationship of Krogstad and Mrs. Lynn, how it was hidden, then suddenly it got revealed. And the character of Mrs. Lynn also shows independent women who was not, when everything was done, it was she was thrown out of the family. She was not liked. She even nobody can afford her. So many aspects were there. Nora used to talk about pots and pots of money, used to give importance to the money, and many other things you can see. Yeah, you can see Mrs. Lynch plays a key role in establishing Nora's childlike, self-centered, insensitive character. She is half a representation of Nora, though she supposed to be interested in Mrs. Lynch's problem. Nora repeatedly turns the conversation back to her own life with Towel. Nora's self-centeredness is further demonstrated in her revelation that she failed to write to Mrs. Lynn up after her husband passed away. So she continuously is highlighting how important she is and how important her life should be. So basically, dramatist who came before him, Ibsen doesn't portray rich, powerful, socially significant people in his plays. He is not presenting them at all. Rather, he populates his dramas with ordinary, common people like us, like you. Ibsen's language is common, very common. His dialogue is uncomplicated, very easy. When you read, go through the text, it's very simple. It's not tough at all. You will find the line very easy, very written in a colloquial language. And Nora's insensitivity to Mrs. Lynn's plight manifests itself when she speaks of her three lovely children immediately after learning that Mrs. Lynn has none. That Ibsen's dialogue is apparently simple, full of loaded subtext, sets Ibsen's drama apart from earlier and contemporary verse plays. So this is very interesting, guys. You should go through this. Hope this video will help you to understand Doll's House. Hope you will enjoy this. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care.